G'day Westy here. Hey, thanks for tuning in. I'm just doing a quick video from a few dramas that I've had trying to identify identify my microcontroller, my drivers for the steppers for the Creality 3D Pro, and also upgrading it to Marlin 2.0 and some of the issues that I've had along the way. So first thing, I've basically put a little file together of what I've picked up as I've gone through, and also I'll show you the changes. So if you don't want to put a probe in and you want to do a manual bed leveling and set up bed tramming and add the menus into your LCD screen, this is what I'm going to show you how to do today. I've not found anybody that's done this yet, really. That's anyway. So first of all, open up your case and the bottom case, like flip it on its side. Open up the bottom case. There's 3 screws at the bottom. There's one on the top underneath the bed. When you slide the bed back, it exposes it from the front. Pull it out, and the cover will come off. So you need to remove the fan coupler, which I think goes into this one here. Goes into this double. I can't remember what. Yeah, fan 2 or it's either fan 1 or fan 2. I can't quite remember now, but one of these ports, your fan plug will come out. Take that out. That'll allow you to get the cover away. First of all, your board identification number, board version. So I've done this here. I've extracted a photo off Google, and I've put these little notes here. So the board version is there. So it's V4.22, which is what I've got up here. Creality version 4.22. So these are the really noisy steppers. But here's your microcontroller. And I'll show you how I got the data off those in a minute. There's a couple of ways to tell whether you've got a 32-bit microprocessor. This one here, the microcontroller. This USB input that you plug your computer into, this is a micro USB, which generally means that you've got a 32-bit processor. But I have seen some, I don't know whether it's scam sites, but they're trying to sell the 4.2.7 board, which has got the silent drivers, the TMC 2228 or whatever they are, but they've got the mini USB, so I don't know whether that's a legit board or not, so I've steered away from that until I find out a bit more about it. So you also, to identify your drivers, because you'll need to identify your drivers for the software. So when you're running your configuration H file in your Visual Studio, you'll need to know all this information you will need to know. So the SD card slot, which is where you put your little SD card in for prints and loading firmware and stuff, that'll have a letter on it, and I'll show you down below what the photos that I took out of my one. They all have a letter. It's either handwritten, or my one had like a little sticker. It's got a little sticker on it, and that identifies the drivers, and I'll show you how to do that. So out of all this information, so here's a close-up photo of my microcontroller here. It's a GD32, so the 32 is telling you that's a 32-bit, and then it's F303, so Foxtrot 303, and then RET6. So one thing I've found in the software in your compilation software in Visual Studio, which is this here, there's no 303. So I use 103, so 32F103 RET6 Creality is what I used as my base config. So I'll show you that in another video. But this is just gathering information so you know what you're dealing with. So this tells you it's an ARM 32-bit, and then I googled the actual 32. This here, my whole complete thing here, the 303 RET6, that there, right there. And it came up with a website and it gave me all this information here. So it tells me it's 120 megahertz, it's got 512k flash, 64k of SRAM, it's got USB and CAN, SD, DIO, DAC, 2.6 to 3.6 volts. So so the next photo I took, so my SD card is an H8. So mine's got a little, so your little sticker up here, so your SD card here in the bottom left corner. I've got an H8 on mine, and there's a little table I found in a, I don't know, GitHub somewhere, and it tells you the letters to what drivers you've got. Okay. So once you've got that information, you'll know that you've got a TMC 2225. So I've basically just shortlisted all that information up here. Oh no, I haven't actually, that part. So yeah, so I'll show you what I've changed in the configuration file. So when you get into your config, you've got your, once you get into the config, I'll show you how to do this all later, but once you're in here, these are the lines that I've changed, and some of the things that I've done. Okay, so the first thing I've done is I've changed the config string author to me, Westy Crypto, because I've changed the configs. So that's down there in line 65. So you've just basically got a I've just changed the default that was in here. The second thing I did, so you need to change your board, because mine's the 4.2.2. So to change the boards in here, it's line, what line is it? Where is it? Oh, motherboard. So 91, 92. So this will say something different on your configuration file. You'll need to jump in over here and go up to source core boards, and then do a search. So over here somewhere, just go Control F and just put B422 in there, and then you just copy this here. So you just drag across to the left and just to board, Control C to copy, and then go back up the top. You can't see it, but there's a configuration file here. There's a tabs at the top. So configuration H and advanced, and then the boards file that I was just in before. So anything you open over here opens up a tab up here. So it's quite easy to navigate. I'll show you how to do all that later. I'm only just figuring this stuff out. So I changed that. Then so I'll show you how to do that here. Just go to Marlin src, so source boards.h, and then do the search for it. So line 92, yeah, I poked it in there. So line 140. So we'll go. This little button over here opens and closes the Explorer on the left. So you can just have the main file running here, so you can see your whole screen. So I'll go to line 140. So leave your baud rate at 115200. I changed my custom machine name to Ender 3 Pro Westy Crypto. So yeah, okie dokie. Don't ask me why, just like to do that. And that actually comes up in the screen, it rolls across the left when you, it's quite cool, yeah. So that's done. Lines 163, 164, 165 and 177, so let's have a look at those. Okay, so what you've got to do here is back in my little Word document, it's got the controllers, because mine's an H8, and so it's TMC 2225, so H equals TMC 2225, so that's my drivers. But up here, if you read, and you have to read a bit of this text because otherwise you won't get this. So it says use TMC 2208 or TMC 2208 standalone for TMC 2225 drivers, which is what we've got. Okay, so I basically, these three lines here, I changed the driver type from the original one, which I can't remember. I think it was just A4988 was the original, what it had written in here. Yeah, all of these ones down here. So so basically you just got to, from right to left, drag that line here to the T, and then hold down your Alt button, and then do the next line down. So 163, 164, and the next line down again, 16. So you got to copy this part here. Don't get the /, so Control C, and then highlight those, so all the way, make sure you get the whole lot there. Hold down Alt, do that one, then scroll down until 177 and do this one, and then you just Control V and paste them in, so that will copy those in. So just go up here, File, Save, so that saves that, so you can just carry on to the next bit. So the next bit, sorry, I'm ducking and diving, I've just got all my notes here, it's just easier to run backwards and forwards. So that's telling you that part. Now I haven't got a probe, but I still want when you're doing your tramming, so there's two parts. I want to do manual mesh measurement. So I've got a feeler blade, I run a 0.1 feeler blade, and I want to set it up with 9 points initially, just to test it out, which I've tested and it all works fine. So if you're not going to run a probe and you're just going to use a feeler blade, and you want the machine to go to a specific location, so on the bed, normally it starts on this corner here on the front left, so it's going to go, I want it to go right over top of the, it'll go 15 mil in from the corner and on a diagonal of 45 degrees. So it'll put a probe there, you put your measurement in, and then, actually no, actually what it does is it goes to the first point, and then it doesn't even wait till you've measured it, it goes to the next one. So when you get to the next one, you put your feeler blade in. If you can't get it in, you anyway, I'll go through that part later. So this basically will set it up so it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can do 16, 12, whatever you want to do. But this is just basically getting it so that you can do that without the probe. You can just do it manually, and it'll wait until you've done your measurement, and then move to, and then you can automatically adjust it, which I'll show you how to do in once I get through this part. I'll show you how to do that in another video, how to adjust, because you can actually adjust it right there electronically with the LCD. It's really cool, man, what you can do with this stuff. And this is the latest version, I think, of Marlin 2.0. What is it? Let's see. 2.1.2 2.1.2 it is. Yeah, so sorry I'm rattling on. There's a fair bit to go through here. So so the other part of it is I want to be able to do my tramming, which is when you're actually tramming the bed and getting it all parallel with your X and Y. And that's an important thing to start with, doing your tramming first. So it's a bit, your tramming and leveling, it's very, very confusing. Tramming, I think of it like a CNC lathe. You're tramming the bed, you're basically getting the bed parallel with in this direction and also this direction with your X and Y axes on your milling machine or your CNC machine, so you can adjust it to get it perfectly. Otherwise, you'll end up drilling a hole on an angle with a, with a parting tool or whatever. So similar thing, but this is 3D printing. So so basically, what you need to do is take the two forward slashes out and define probe manually on line 1314. So let's scroll down to line 1314. Oh, it's a page down. Yeah. So I just basically rolled in here and removed. So anything that's got double forward slash, basically commented out so that all of the information below it doesn't apply. But as soon as you take those out, this here livens up, and then you'll see things down further that will liven up automatically, whereas it will actually block it out if it's not done. So this is all down here is all talking about the probe, different probes and stuff. We're not using a probe. So the next stage, so we need to cruise down to, and I changed the heat. So I like to have my nozzle in my bed at temperature, so that you can get an accurate measurement of when it's actually at temperature. You want to see what height it's actually going to be pumping this in, pumping this plastic in at. So so basically I enable those in lines 1881 and 1899. So let's roll down page down to 18, because all this stuff here is just all non-related to what we're doing. 18, what is it? 1881. Here we go. So you've got to take the double slash out for the define mesh bed leveling. So line 1881, and that will liven up the next available options. So then we've got to go to 1889 or 1888 actually, which is so we need to basically take the comment, the slashes out for this line here, restore leveling after G28, so that resets it after it's done. And then on 1894, so that's the bed leveling, that's the restore after G29. So the auto level preheat is 1894. Change the temps as you like. So I've taken the forward arrows out of this line here, and I've changed it to 220 for my nozzle and 60 for my bed, which is normally what I run PLA at. But it gives you a rough idea of what the settings are like. So that's that part done, and now we go to enable mesh leveling, which is the actual 9 or 12 or 16 points that we talked about before. So that's line 2005. So there's the lines down here. Scroll down to 2005. There we go. So, oh, hang on. Must be up here. I'll just type in a search. So just go Control F for find, and then just delete, and then just go capital letters mesh. So is that? Yeah, I'm not sure what the story is there. So I've just come down to here. Unified bed leveling, don't worry about that. If enabled mesh bed leveling, which it is enabled, then you can set your insets here. So this inset comes in from the corner of the table 15 millimeters on a 45-degree angle from the outside edge, because it knows it's the outside edges because that's actually listed below 235 by 235 by 250 on the Z. So the 3 points, it'll go 1, 2, 3, and then it'll go to the middle, 1, 2, 3. Go to the middle, 1, 2, 3, and then it'll go to the back, 1, 2, 3. So 9 in total. You can change this to 4 and it will go 12. If you change it to 4, it'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 16. Sorry. So then we cruised. I've commented out LCD bed leveling, so that adds a menu into the LCD screen, so that when you're into motion section, it comes up in that area there. Those settings here, just leave them alone. I never touched any of those. And then this one here, I enabled bed tramming. So that's the first thing you do before you do your mesh leveling. You've got to do your tramming. So define LCD. So that sets a menu inside the same area where I was talking about, where you go into motion. It'll be in here. It'll LCD bed tramming, and that's, I left that. So that's actually the beds trim. So once that's enabled, all this stuff. So if I comment this out with a double slash, all this stuff goes dead, so it's inactive. So I'll take that out again, and it livens it all up again. Yeah, so that 30, 30, 30, 30, basically it'll come in 30 mil from on a diagonal 45 degrees, 30 down and 30 in, and that's exactly in the center of the wheel where it touches the on the underside of the board of the pad. That's exactly where the center of the wheel is, which is where your nozzle's going to be. So this tramming here, the 30, 30, 30 is this corner, this corner, this corner, and this corner. And you'll see that further down, the tramming height is 0 because we want this at Z level 0. And then you can adjust the bed to have your clearance of the 0.1 mil on the feather blade. So here it is here. This is normal, and it's actually, so normally it goes, yeah, so it just goes from this side to this side, and then up there to the back. So 1, 2 to the back, and then to the there. And then if you go next again, it keeps coming round. So you're next, 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 and I'll show you that later. And that's it there, define bed tramming leveling order. So that's left front, rear back, right back, left back. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can change this any way you like. If you want to, you just basically copy this set of instructions there and then paste them in there. Make sure you don't delete the spaces out, otherwise it won't work. What else have we got here? Tramming. So that's a line 2. It's on line 2034. That area. Change your preheat settings. Heat. Change it to heat. Your preheat settings is to turn the bed on and get it cranked. Preheat settings. Okay. Now, this normally says, so we'll go to 2220 and 2230. So all this stuff, don't worry about here. Okay. So here is there's a menu in here inside your config or inside your LCD, and it's basically you can preheat at a preset, so you can preheat to whatever you have set up in here. So I've got PLA and I've got PETG, which normally it has ABS here, and I changed this to PETG, and also changed my default heater settings, which are my nozzle and my bed, and I do the same for my PLA. I've got that set up at 225 by default and 65. These bottom two I just leave that because I think that's a fan speed, which 255 is full 100%. This one here, actually, the preheat, I should really change that down to, I don't know, I should change that down to 100. Oh, 255 divided by 40%. So I'll make it 86 or something. 80. I'll make it 88. So that should run at about 40%, close enough. Okay, I'll make it 100. So then file, save. Just keep doing this as you like occasionally. So that's basically set my PETG as I normally would set that up at 40% on my fan speed. So otherwise it takes ages to heat up the nozzle. So we'll carry on. Apologise if this is boring the snot out of you. We're at the end. So yeah, so that's all done. So save that file, save, and then just go to your we'll open up the Explorer again and go to your this one here and save that just in case you've been doing something in there. And then up the top here, you've got the, I'll just drag this open a bit. Up the top here, you've got a tab up here called Auto Build, which is the perfect great thing about this here. So we are using the 32F103RE, which is a 512K, which is what I had in here. Right at the top here, 512K. That's what that's related to. That's your flash. So you know you're kind of barking up the right tree there. You've got the right flash. I don't know why there's not a 303 available, but this is the closest I could get. So so then you click on build, and it runs this build for, it takes about 20 seconds, 25 seconds to do. Oh, we've got problems. That came up with a lot of errors there. I don't know. Oh, preheat leveling. Disable preheat before leveling when using preheat before probing. Okay. So I need to change the file, and so I'll do this disable preheat before leveling. So I'll copy that part. This is a part of the diagnostic process. So we'll go into config H and we'll go here and paste that. So that's the line we're looking for, and see how it's red? It's actually telling you there's something wrong. So I'm going to comment that out because it says disable it. Error, disable preheat before leveling. So I'll disable that by adding in the two comments. Okay, so that's taken that out. I'll save it again. File, save. And then we'll go back up and try and do another rebuild. So we'll go back up here, build, and we'll see what happens. I actually haven't had this happen before, so it's quite good to have this happen in real time. Here we go. we've got 2 yellows here, and that is just a caution, just to make you aware. And it automatically opens the file, and there's your firmware file there. So one thing that I need to point out is if you are if you've already done played around with this and already have a firmware installed, and you put this in with the latest one here ready to roll, it won't recognize it because it's already got the same file name firmware logged into its EEPROM. So just change, take one letter out or change it to something like you just change it to a capital or something like that. And but even if the dates, because I think it only reads the first 12 characters, so because this date changes, so you could even change this here to FW for firmware. So if I just go back to here and change this to FW, that will actually stick. So next time you change it to FW, it'll have a different, because this is basically logging the time and the date for the bin file. So you just basically grab that, copy it, and then load it onto your SD card. Make sure your SD card's formatted with nothing else on it, and paste it to there. Then plug it in, and away you go. So anyway, sorry this has been a bit of a drag, but this is kind of the configuration part. But I'll show you how to set the other part, set this this here up in another video. But the caution here is just telling you, basically, you just got to read it, and it's just telling you that warning. Creality 4.2.2 boards come with a variety of stepper drivers. Check the board label, which is what we've gone through the whole process of doing, and we've got the H on mine, which told me it was the SM2225. And when you go into the configuration files, it tells you how to deal with that, which we've already dealt with. So it's just telling you that that's the warning. Otherwise, you can burn out your stepper drivers or cause damage to them if you load the wrong ones in there. So anyway, so that sums it up. It's a War and Peace novel. So thanks. This is Westy over and out. Cheers.